Can you see me?
Welcome on Dr. A Talks.
Wow. I'll be very honest. I'm so nervous about this whole live video. The first time I did it a few days back, I was a mess. I think now I've kind of figured it out in due course of time.
That's a little difficult to believe, you being a mess. Till date, I have never ever seen you in a mess in the worst of the days. Even after, we've come out of the swimming pool, you still emerge like a diva. So
You can ask Vikram Fadnas. He was there, he was watching, and he was only laughing because I was like all over the place. But I'm better off today.
I'm glad. So, first of all, welcome to Dr. A Talks, and thank you very much for accepting my invitation.
Thank you.
I've started to spread the positivity and the cheer in these difficult times because everybody is stuck inside. So, how are you spending your time? What have you been up to? Besides cleaning, because for everybody who's out there, just know that Malaika, the Monica of the group, she constantly has a tissue in her hand, and she is a
I do suffer from OCD, and everybody knows that. All my friends know that. Everybody close to me knows that. So yeah, but I think I'm no different from everybody else. I think, barring trying to make the most and optimize and maximize your 24 hours. Earlier I thought, oh my God, how am I going to utilize these 24 hours? And now suddenly I feel those 24 hours are not enough because there's so much to look forward to in the day. You're catching up on things which you probably have kind of neglected over the years, so whether it's just your time for yourself, whether it's cooking, cleaning, clearing up, just declutter your space, catching up and talking to friends and family, and just kind of exchanging notes on a daily basis. And I think most important is self-introspection. I think that's the most important. To actually be able to sit by myself and introspect a bit. I think that is something which we don't do.
Are you meditating, or you're just sitting in your balcony in the sunlight and just looking inwards?
Actually, believe it or not, I have never really meditated ever. I'm not somebody who meditates, but this is the first time that I've actually do it. I actually do that every single morning. I wake up, I sit on my balcony in the sun, try and get as much sunlight as possible, and I meditate, and I truly find it very, very therapeutic. That is my time. I sit with my dog, I sit with my feet crossed, and it's my time, and I love it. And I just meditate for like whatever, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever is you're capable of. And I think it has really made a huge difference.
So what is the kind of meditation technique you follow? Because there are just so many techniques out there, and everybody keeps wondering, how do we start? Because you should speak about.
Well, like you said, yes.
Because everybody wonders how to meditate. What is the technique that you follow?
Everybody has their different ways of meditating. I sit and meditate, but I'm not somebody. I tend to listen to a few chants. I tend to listen to a few lines of talk. I concentrate on that. I like to listen more than anything else. So I have this little meditative, Deepak Chopra meditative, discourse that he does, and I sit and listen to it. And I quite like it. I just find it very, very soothing, very calming, and that's what I do.
Okay, so guided meditation is something that you enjoy and you follow. And what about your workouts? Because everybody knows how fit you are. So whilst we are indoors, how are you maintaining that fitness level? Because I think you're one of the most fittest celebrities that I know. So how are you maintaining that?
I think Aditi, I think you also are somebody who's so into fitness, and I think everybody has their graphs of being, wanting to be fit, not so fit, go through phases in their life. But I'm somebody who's always stressed the fact that you got to adopt some sort of fitness in your life at some level, because I think all these years of a certain lifestyle, I think that is what is helping me today, just to be able to stay calm, just to be able to stay positive, to be able to stay fit, even though I'm indoors. I'm able to do all of it. So I think it's very important to do that. And I think even post this unprecedented nightmare that everybody world over is going through, I think once we all come out of it, I think it's very important to take that forward as well, you know, just to maintain a certain level of wellness, certain level of fitness. I think that really will impact your mind, body, and soul. So yes, I love yoga. I propagate yoga. I talk a lot about yoga. I practice yoga. So I think it is something that has helped me immensely. I went through so much of ups and downs in my life, and I think yoga was literally presented to me at a time when I needed the most. And I think I swear by it, and to date, it's what keeps me grounded and sane.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for everybody who has joined us, you have to know that Malaika is beautiful inside out. And I've seen her journey, and I've seen how strong she is. She is by far one of the strongest girls I know, and I've said that to her many a times, because hats off to what she's gone through. I know that you turned vegan recently. What brought on that journey? Why did you convert from being a hardcore non-vegetarian to being a vegan, which is like two extremes, literally?
True. I mean, yes, that was all. I mean, I was vegetarian. Somewhere I started leaning towards, a non-vegetarian, and somewhere I started leaning towards wanting to be vegetarian. I actually wanted to, test myself, I think, to see whether I was capable of being able to do it. Because I think everybody goes through it, like when you want to, people who want to give up smoking. Oh God, I don't know whether I'll ever give it up. People who drink, oh no, I don't know whether I'll ever be able to give it up. Whatever certain vices, etc., that you may have in life. So I think I just wanted to test myself to see whether I can do it. So the first step was turning vegetarian. Eventually, then I turned vegan, and it was a challenge to myself and nothing else. I wanted to see whether I could actually do it, and I did. I managed, and it's almost now 7 months or 8. Yeah, it's the 8th month now that I've turned vegan, and I've never felt better in my life.
What was the most difficult thing converting from being a non-vegetarian to vegan? Because I know that being a vegetarian, when I think of, okay, let me try and become a vegan, I just find it so difficult because of the tea or coffee that I like to have in the morning. So to give that up, it's a little difficult. Was there any particular thing that you had difficulty in giving up?
Well, thankfully, I don't have tea, coffee, so I don't have that issue of worrying about adding milk to any of it. But nowadays, there are so many options to dairy-free, dairy-free options. You don't have to rely on dairy per se. So that in itself is wonderful. The other thing is, I think the only thing that I really missed is eggs. that was very difficult for me initially, because it was something that I always did before going for a workout, have eggs, because Mummy always said, have your protein before you go to a workout because you need that. So that myth is kind of busted for me, because I don't rely so heavily on that protein anymore, because I used to think it's only protein and protein alone, animal proteins, so to speak, that can keep me fit, and that can keep me energetic, and that can make me do that much more in the course of the day. So that is something which I learned, but I missed. Hi, Preeta. I can see you. Yes.
Preeta and Vikram are having a side conversation as we
are having their own chat.
I'm purposely ignoring you, Vikram, because there's constant Vishesh Tipaniya those are happening, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get distracted. So Vikram, yes, I will mention to everybody that she's a fantastic cook, and a great host. So there you go. So I saw besan laddus the other day, and I love besan laddus, and I'm like, okay, I need to make them as well. So hi, Mavis. Hi, Amu.
Hi, Amu.
It's like a party.
Hi, Amu. Hi, Shafiq. Hi. I'm trying to say hi to everybody. Bhumi.
Yeah. Bhumi saying
my screen is blurred. So I don't know. To me it looks fine, but I don't know. Does it look blurred to you?
It's fine at times because of network issue. It happens.
Yeah, but otherwise it looks fine to me.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So everybody's having a side conversation. She's a ghost. She's saying, Vikram, stop it. Malaka, I think
I don't know what you're saying. Okay, talking about besan
laddu service is open. Malaika is starting a new business. It's called Laddu Delivery, guys. So please place your order.
Yes. The number of people that have asked me for it. So I promise, once we are out of this nightmare and this lockdown, etc., I will be personally making besan laddus and sending to everybody. my little gift to everyone. So yes, I will be doing that, and that is a promise to all my friends who have asked me. So it'll be coming to you as well. But I have to say, I mean, you know, what you are doing, you're talking about wellness, because I think it's right now, times are such where I don't think people somewhere even realize, you know, the kind of mental stress or, you know, the kind of, you know, daily, how they're going to deal with it, you know. So I think your field of expertise is really the need of the hour. Besides being healthy and fitness and wellness and all of that, I think that is something that is very, very essential, and I think you're on the right track.
And
I'm
that's
also
why
very
pretty much I started this, you know, to basically get to know how everybody is keeping positive, and that's a message I want to give through this Dr. A Talks as well, because you are one of the extremely positive people I know. So I wanted to ask you, did you ever, since this lockdown has begun, go through that kind of a panic, even a slightest bit of anxiety, panic or stress mode? Because you know, everything is cancelled, there are no shoots happening, there are no events happening. Did you ever get into that zone? And if so, how did you come out of it?
Yes, actually, now that you're asking me, I mean, sometimes there are certain things you don't quite discuss, you know. I mean, these are things that you tend to deal, like someone like me, I tend to deal with it on my own in the best way that I think possible. Probably talk to a couple of friends or something. But yes, I did because I live alone with my son, you know. So so obviously there was a certain sense of, somewhere after the first week, I remember, where I did feel a sense of panic. I did feel a sense of being alone. And it kind of, I did feel like, oh my God, you know, will I be like this forever? You know, I mean, there was a sense that did cross my mind. It was very temporary, but I did feel like that. And I think I've spoken to so many people, so many of my friends, so many people that we talk to, and a lot of people have, you know, felt various degrees of some sort of anxiety, and I did feel it. And I remember that day I was really shaken up. But sometimes, like for me, I think a good cry always helps. Talking to somebody always helps. And I meditated, I did yoga, and I did feel a lot better after it. But I did definitely feel, and it was more not about, yes, I know it's a situation that world over people are going through. I'm not alone in this. Everybody is going through various degrees of anxiety or various degrees of stress, whatever. Everybody has their own bits to deal with. But I, for the first time, I did feel kind of alone. I really did feel that. So, but today I feel so much better, because I feel it's important to deal with it in that moment, to understand why you're feeling a certain way. And I feel
it's great that you acknowledged it. I think that is very, very crucial, to acknowledge how you're feeling, what you're feeling. And crying always, it's very cathartic. So, you know, we have this whole thing that, oh, we shouldn't cry, but it's okay.
I think a good cry is very good. Like you said, it's very cathartic. I think it's extremely good to just have a good cry every once in a while.
Yeah, because it's immense, huh? The number of people who are going through this mental stress, especially given that everybody's cooped in and there are people who are just alone and isolated. So Vikram, stop it. He's non-stop. He's messaging. Yeah.
Hi, Arvind. Hi, Arvind. Hi, Vic. No, absolutely. I totally agree with. He's telling me don't feel bad. No. How can I feel bad? I have all you friends. I have all your family around. Why will I feel bad? But I think she asked. It was a question that Aditi asked me, and I think it was. I felt the need to be honest, because I'm sure everybody is going through, you know, similar situations. But I think even our government is doing. Maharashtra government is also, you know, a fantastic job. They've got helplines to deal with similar situations, and which is, like I said, it is the need of the hour. And I'm really glad that they're taking even these issues as important and not relegating it to the background.
Hi, Nilo. Nilo is saying hi to you, Malaika. He's a friend of mine, big fan of
Hi.
yours. He would kill me if I didn't take his name. Coming back to being vegan, how is Arhan coping with it? Has he also become vegan? Because I know that with Kiara and Zia, my children, everybody has different likes, and it becomes quite a task, especially if you're vegetarian and somebody is not, or you're vegan and somebody is not, to manage and coordinate the meals, you know, at every single time.
See, I don't expect him to do exactly as I am. I try to inculcate a bit of it in him. No, he likes his non-veg foods, which is cooked for him. But having said that, he is a kind of kid who, if I, he's always willing to try and experiment. And if I tell him, give it a shot, see what it feels like, he will. But I don't force it on anybody. I certainly not, on my son. And I let him be, the person that he is. Yes, I do try and tell him the good about it. He says, Mama, how can you be so strict? How can you do all of this? And I'm like, well, this is me now. I'm like that. No, I can't.
I think more than strict, I would call you disciplined. I have not seen anybody who has that kind of willpower to resist the desserts or any kind of food. Malaika will be so disciplined. All of us around her will be eating and she'll be like, no, this is something that I will not put in my body. So where does the discipline come from? Were you always like this, or have you developed it over a period of time?
Well, a part of me was always like that because I've learned dance for a major chunk of my life. I was a sports person for a part of my life. So there, a certain sense of discipline is inculcated in you. So that I think somewhere I've taken forward. But over the years, I'm also I adjust. I'm very malleable at the same time. I'm not rigid as a person. But yes, I mean, where discipline is concerned, I tend to be a certain...
What I'm saying is where you yourself are concerned, you're extremely
disciplined.
Yes. So that's everybody around, you're a softie.
I guess it comes from my early years because it was inculcated in me, and I've kind of taken that forward until today. I try and maintain as disciplined a life as I can. My son calls me boring, but it's okay. I think being disciplined or being boring is very underrated. I think sometimes it's good to to have a little bit of that in your life. He always tells, because I go to bed like by 10 I'm in bed. So he's like, God, you can't be so boring, Mom. Can you just stay up for an hour more? And I'm like, no, I need to sleep. I need to wake up early. I have yoga in the morning. So he's like, it's okay. It's fine. The world will still go on. I'm like, yeah, but now this is me. Too bad.